What's going on, guys? Welcome back to this week's first exclusive segment from the greatest podcast on turf. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Anthony.
And for this exclusive segment, we are going to be doing our semi-bi-weekly NFL mock draft. For this mock draft, we're going to give you guys the full mock draft. But what we're going to do, instead of going through each pick, since that'll be like a half-hour video, we're just going to give a breakdown on picks 10 to 20. Last week, you gave a breakdown on picks 1 to 10. We are still going to do a full mock draft, but we are just going to give you a breakdown on picks 10 to 20, telling you why we picked them there. So be sure to tune in, listen. Also, be sure to check out our podcast this week where we did a recap of everything that happened last week. You know, there was some close games, there was some blowouts, so we obviously touched on that. Later in the week, you know, we obviously got our best bets, our start 'em, sit 'em, and we got our, weekly pick 'em series. So check it out.
Yeah, pretty much like the video, subscribe if you know. The link to our full mock draft will be linked in the description. We're going to tell you guys who we picked 1 through 9 just to lead it up so you know who's off the board. And then we'll explain 10 through 20. Then 21 to 32 will be linked in the comments below. Comment any questions you have. I know on our last mock draft, a couple of you guys commented thoughts like why we did this. We'll answer your comments. Keep showing the greatest podcast on turf some love. A couple announcements. The greatest podcast on turf will be at the Sixers game Thursday night against the Jazz. Next Sunday, we will be at the Eagles versus Washington football team game tailgating, running a huge giveaway in person. Stickers, jerseys, all that stuff being given away. And the greatest podcast on turf studio coming very, very, very soon. We're getting our own studio.
Construction currently happening.
We'll be out of the pizza. We'll be out of the pizza shop in the studio. But before we get into anything, speaking of giveaways, studios, none of that would be possible without our lovely, amazing sponsor, my family's business,
Little Italy Pizzeria. We are sitting in the restaurant right now. There are 2 locations. One of them is in Middletown, Delaware, and the other one is in Townsend. It is a family-owned local mom and pop pizza shop, you would say. It is great food, great people, great prices. Come in and check it out. Trust me, the food is amazing. I personally am a cheesesteak guy, but you could get anything. Pizza, wings, sandwiches, anything you want. The food is amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, we have the greatest podcast on turf special. If you come in to either Little Italy location and say the greatest podcast on turf sent you, you get a discount. And if you show proof that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel, you get an even bigger discount. So come in, enjoy a nice percentage off the already very, very cheap prices. And great food, great people, my family, great business. Show us some love. Ryan loves it. Everyone loves it. And with that being said, it is Mock Draft Monday, so let's get into it.
Before we get into it, my dad gave us a gift that he told us to open up on the podcast. My dad, his former coach, he said we have to open it up on a podcast. So with that being said, definitely a shoe box. I don't think it's a pair of shoes, but
this is a gift opening channel now. What is it? Greatest podcast hats
on turf on the back.
OMG.
Attaboy, coach.
Oh my God. OMFG. Shout out to coach. Text him right now. Say thank you. Let's get into the mock draft. All right. So normally we're doing this a little different. We're going to go through, we did picks 1 through 10 already because we did them before. It's pretty much all the same guys. May see some repeat names, may see some different guys, but pretty much with the first overall pick, Ryan selected Aiden Hutchinson. Number 2, I took Kayvon Thibodeau, Kyle Hamilton, Sauce Gardner, Kenyon Green, Evan Neal, George Karlaftis, Garrett Wilson, Matty Ice Matt Corral, Derek Stingley at 10 of the Vikings. Our full mock draft is linked in the description as we stated before. And with the 11th overall pick in the NFL draft, the New Orleans Saints select.
I am back on the clock here. And with this Saints team, there is different things that you could go with. You could obviously go with the quarterback because, well, that situation kind of sucks. But with Matt Corral just coming off the board, I decided to stick on the offensive side of the ball. I decided to go receiver and draft Chris Olave out of Ohio State. They had success before drafting Michael Thomas from Ohio State, and the Michael Thomas experience, I'm not really sure that's working out. He's not playing football. He doesn't seem happy to be a Saint. He says that they handled his foot injury wrong, so it's kind of a messy situation. And Chris Olave, you're getting arguably the best route runner in all of college football. You are arguably getting the best receiver in all of college football. His counterpart being on the same team in Garrett Wilson. So Olave here, I think it's a great pick for the Saints. The Saints need offense. The O-line's great. They have a great running back. They have that star running back, but they don't have anybody to throw the ball to right now. I mean, Tre'Quan Smith, that's the man. Their defense is pretty solid, I would say already. They have the best run defense in football. So I wanted to go on the offensive side of the ball. And maybe if they can bring in a quarterback this year, he needs a number 1. So Chris Olave being the best route runner in the class, give me him at 11.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot. I definitely like receiver here, especially if they're picking this early. It's a top need. Like you said, their defense already solid. Maybe I could see a corner, like if a Derek Stingley falls, maybe. But the Eagles are up on the clock. I don't think the Eagles draft this good. The way we have it set up, we gave them a pretty good draft, which probably isn't going to happen because the Eagles effing blow.
If only teams knew as much as we do, the NFL would be a much better place.
But with the Eagles' 12th pick, I'm going to go ahead and draft DeMarvin Leal out of Texas A&M. This is the Eagles' thing to do, an interior defensive lineman. They have Fletcher Cox on payroll. They have Javon Hargrave, who's been good. They have Josh Sweat, who's been okay. But the Eagles' thing to do is draft an interior defensive lineman here. Fletcher Cox is getting old. He doesn't stay healthy. He makes about $13 million a year to play half a season if he stays healthy. But like you said, fly, Eagles, fly. I like this pick here. DeMarvin Leal is a guy who we've seen kind of fall off a little bit, similar to how Greg Rousseau did last year. At the start of the college football season, DeMarvin Leal was a top 5 pick. We're seeing him fall down the board a little bit. If the Eagles can get him at 12, I think it's a steal. And I think, honestly, it fills kind of a big position of need for them, honestly.
My man Matty Ice looks there. Mac Ice looks
Mac
like
Jeezy.
The little boy from Christmas Story. But he's bundled.
He's never seen snow before.
With this next Eagles pick, they are back-to-back. I'm not sure whose pick this is. Probably the Dolphins?
They have
Jets?
Yeah, the Colts will probably be this latest one.
Yeah. This is probably the Dolphins right here. Personally, I think they go corner. Darius Slay has been solid this year, I would say. Big play Slay. But corner is one of their biggest needs, so give me Andrew Booth, corner out of Clemson, junior, 5-star recruit out of Atlanta. My man is a top corner in this class. People have argued the best. Personally, I think it's Stingley and it's him and Sauce, and it's not really close. But like I said, the Eagles do need a corner, and Andrew Booth is a corner from Clemson. So this is a school that has put out very good athletes, very good corners, A.J. Terrell being one of them. It is a respectable school with a great defensive coordinator who is now our head coach. Just thought I'd throw that in there. Welcome, Venables. But no, Andrew Booth is a great corner. He doesn't get the ball thrown to him a lot, which in my opinion is the best sign of any corner in football. I personally would rather have a guy who doesn't get thrown to than a guy who gets a ton of interceptions. That's just the way that I feel. Andrew Booth
J.C. Jackson
and Trayvon Diggs, so it doesn't matter which way you spin it. Andrew Booth, I think it is a position in need for the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think it is a solid pick here.
Yeah, I like that pick. Like you said, he's arguably CB1 in the class. Like you said, he doesn't get thrown to a lot. He's got a lot of film. He's played against good teams. He's done pretty good against the good receivers he's played against, especially when Clemson was in the playoffs and in the ACC. There's been some pretty good receivers to come out of there as of late. Diami Brown, for example, just a guy off the top of my head. I'm sure there's better ones. He's just the first name that comes to my head.
He's on a defense that has allowed 15 points a year this year. And their offense sucks.
Yeah.
So take that how you want it.
And with the next pick, the Las Vegas Oakland Raiders are on the clock. The Raiders, Mike Mayock, their GM, he's a guy that
best drafter in the league.
Kind of likes to just reach on guys. I mean, John Gruden's not there anymore, so I don't know how that'll affect it. But
so you're saying scroll down, like right there.
In theory, if they were drafting,
Kate Otten.
But I'm gonna go ahead and draft Ike Mekwonu here. I don't know if I said his name right. It's kind of a hard name to pronounce. Ike Mekwonu, offensive tackle out of North NC State. Iquanu, he's a great offensive tackle prospect. This offensive tackle class is pretty good if you look at it. There's a lot of offensive linemen. There's a lot of versatile offensive linemen. And the Raiders need tackle bad. They have Alex Leatherwood, who they drafted in the first round, who's been okay so far. But other than that, they have Richie Incognito, if he still plays on the offensive line. They don't have much else on the offensive line. Ike Mekwonu, he's a guy who can play multiple positions on the offensive line. He's a guy who has experience playing Power 5 football, highest level. He's versatile. He's quick. He fits the Raiders scheme perfect. They run a West Coast type of power run offense, a little bit of a mixture. He fits perfect. He's versatile. He's strong. He's strong at the point of attack. He's quick to get to the second level. Ike Mekwonu would be a good fit here for the Raiders. Now, they probably wouldn't draft him because they'd probably reach and draft
guy from Alabama, like the third round, third.
Nick Broker out of Ole Miss, the 288th player in the draft network, just because that would be the Mike Mayock thing to do. But I like Ike Mekwonu here out of NC State to the Raiders. I think it's a good fit, and I think he's a perfect scheme fit for the Raiders offense.
With this next pick here, the Cleveland Browns. Granted, this guy that I'm going to take probably isn't a great position to need for the Cleveland Browns, but when I saw his name, I got too excited to pass up on. Jordan Davis, interior defensive lineman out of Georgia. Now, I know you're saying that Cleveland already has a great defensive line, and, well, they don't really need him. But my man is 6'6", my man is a stud. Yeah. And, well, if you put him on the defensive line with Myles Garrett, I feel like things could happen that would potentially ruin anybody's day. Like I said it. They don't really need defense. That's not the problem. But when you have the opportunity to absolutely disrupt any quarterback that you're playing against, when you already have arguably the best edge rusher in all the football, pair him with a 6'6", 300-something pound defensive lineman.
6'6", 340.
340 out of Georgia. The best defense in all of college football. The centerpiece in this defense, I'm going to do that. I'm going to make the best defensive line that I can because that is where it starts in the NFL nowadays. Interior pressure is very important. So Jordan Davis coming to Cleveland, I think is a great pick. And it is... That's Chicago.
Yeah, I like that pick. Me personally here, I probably would have steered away from defense just because it's not as big a need. But I see the vision, though.
It's why we mock.
This is why we mock Draft Monday. I see the vision, though, respectfully. But the Eagles are back on the clock here, and the Eagles thing to do right now would be to draft Spencer Rattler out of the transfer portal. But we're drafting for the Eagles right now, so that being said, I'm taking Tyler Linderbaum. I know they just drafted Landon Dickerson in the second round last year, but one, he gets hurt. Two, he's not very good. And three, Jason Kelsey's probably done after this year. Brandon Brooks makes way too much money and is always on the injury report. And the rest of their offensive line blows. Tyler Linderbaum is arguably the best interior offensive lineman in the whole entire draft class. He's shot up boards. If you watch him play on film, I watched the Michigan-Iowa game. He was great. He's great blocking in space. He's great at the second level. He's a very, very well-rounded offensive prospect. He can go in and fill Jason Kelsey's role immediately if he retires, like I think will happen. He'll go and fill immediately, be better than Dickerson or whoever else is on the Eagles' offensive line. He's great at all three levels of blocking. He's good out in open space on screen passes like the Eagles like to run. He's a great scheme fit, and he's arguably the second, third best offensive lineman in the draft class.
But this next pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, a report came out that, Big Ben will not be returning for the Pittsburgh Steelers next year. It sounds like he's going to go play football for another team. I don't know how I feel about that. I hope he doesn't, but...
To Dallas.
Yeah, okay. No. So I think that the Steelers here, they could definitely draft a quarterback unless they go and get Aaron Rodgers. But as of right now, Big Ben is leaving the team. As of right now, Aaron Rodgers is still a Green Bay Packer. So with that being said, I'm taking Kenny Pickett out of Pittsburgh. It's just simple. It fits. That's why I'm doing it, because it fits. Kenny Pickett, the problem here is they said he has small hands. They also said that about Joe Burrow.
I was just about to say they said that about Sleepy Joe.
Sleepy Joe's doing all right. So Kenny Pickett here I think is a good pick for the Steelers. They need a quarterback. And this is going to be their guy. He is a local kid. He is doing very good this season. He's had 400 yards more than once. The only quarterback that has done that. He is in the Heisman finalist. He has been balling out this year. He is in a respectable conference in the ACC. So he has had a deal against Clemson. But, I mean, I could see how you want a better one. But, I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they need a quarterback. And this is, really that simple.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot. Like you say, he's a local guy. He's in the Heisman finalist. He's a guy that shot up the draft boards as the season's gone on. And he's been pretty damn good shooting up the draft boards. And with this next pick for the Broncos, simply just because the fact that the Broncos are a quarterback away, Teddy Bridgewater blows. Drew Lock isn't the answer. So that being said, I'm taking arguably the best quarterback available on the board and arguably the best quarterback in the class to some people. That's Malik Willis.
Willis?
No. The fact of the matter is just the Broncos need a quarterback. I don't think that they'll last as far. I think teams will move up because the way it works in the NFL draft, quarterbacks don't fall. As I don't care who's drafting it. Teams will trade up or teams will draft a quarterback just to draft a quarterback. But Malik Willis here at 18 is too good a value to pass up on for the Broncos. He's dynamic. We saw what Javonte Williams can do yesterday. He was dynamic. The Broncos arguably have a top 5, top 10 wide receiving core. They have a big 3 wide receivers, Judy, Sutton, and Tim Patrick. They got Noah Fant, who's a stud tight end. They have a good offensive line. They have a great defense. They're quarterback away. Malik Willis on the board here. He's arguably CB1. He may have some work to do. Maybe if they keep Bridgewater on the team, Bridgewater will be able to mentor him some or just teach him some, because Bridgewater is a great backup quarterback to have to be a mentor to a young guy
quarterback
like Malik Willis. So that being said, I took Malik Willis here, and I think it's a good fit, and it fills the biggest need for the Broncos.
Personally, my last pick that I will be explaining is the Miami Dolphins. Now, for this pick, you can argue quarterback if you don't like Tua, but I am going to push for a linebacker here. I can't really name Miami's linebackers, so Nakobe Dean out of Georgia will be the new one that I will be able to name. He has been solid all year this year for Georgia, arguably the best middle linebacker in all of college football. I know PFF has graded him that as the best middle linebacker rusher and in pass coverage. So, you know, if you don't like PFF, that's fine, but you got to put some respect on. If they put him first, he's got to be at least top 3. You know what I mean? So, Nakobe Dean is a stud athlete out of Georgia. I believe he's just a little bit undersized in terms of what people say, but that doesn't really matter. Nakobe Dean is a freak athlete. He is good in pass coverage. He can rush the quarterback. So, give me here to the Miami Dolphins to fulfill this whole entire defense. They needed that centerpiece, and here he is.
Yeah, when Elandon Roberts and Andrew Van Ginkel are your linebackers, that's a big problem. You need to do something about that. And with the final pick of the greatest podcast on turf, 10 to 20 mock draft, the Washington football team selects Desmond Ritter, quarterback from Cincinnati. I think the college football playoffs could be huge on Desmond Ritter's draft stock. I think if he goes in here and I don't think they'll beat Alabama, but if he comes out and he has an even decent game against Alabama's defense, I think he'll shoot up. I think he would be in the top 3 quarterback conversation if he has a good playoffs, and especially if they go out and beat Alabama, which I don't think will happen. But Desmond Ritter's a guy. I think he fits good in Washington. I don't know if Taylor Heineke's the guy. They've been winning, but the fact of the matter is they've only been scoring like 10, 20 points a game on offense, which isn't very good. You're going to need to score more points, especially down the stretch, playing the better teams if you make the playoffs. But I think this has to be a quarterback. I think Washington should have drafted a quarterback last year. That's just my opinion, but I think a quarterback here is good, especially a quarterback like Desmond Ritter at 20, who's been good in Cincinnati for his 2 years. I know they don't play in a conference, but they've been good the past 2 years, and they're in the playoffs, so I think the playoffs will tell a lot about Desmond Ritter and if he's the real deal at quarterback or not. So I'm taking the gamble here at 20, assuming he's going to have a good playoffs and go put on a clinic against Alabama.
Yep. For these next, 10 picks, we're not going to explain it. We're just going to do a run-through of our people. So the Cincinnati Bengals are up 21. I ended up taking Charles Cross, offensive lineman. They needed it. Should have did it last year, arguably.
Yeah, and the next pick, the Chargers, they need an edge rusher bad. We're not going too much into depth, just a quick, abrupt reasoning. They need someone across from Joey Bosa. So David Ajabo has been playing across of Aiden Hutchinson, the number 1 overall pick in this mock draft. So that's why I took him here across Joey Bosa. It could be a big problem.
And for Buffalo, I think they needed a receiver too, so I took Jahan Dotson out of Penn State.
Like that pick, I think he could go a lot earlier, Jahan Dotson. 25, the Detroit Lions, or 24, this is a tough one for me with the Lions. I took a gamble here, Sam Howell. I think Detroit needs a quarterback. Jared Goff's not the answer, and who knows, maybe Sam Howell is.
You did the next one, so I can have my Cowboys?
I did the next one. The Kansas City Chiefs are up. I went here and took Jaquan Brisker out of Penn State. He's the second best safety in the class. Any other year, he's the best. But Kyle Hamilton is here. Jaquan Brisker wreaks havoc at Penn State, and he will be a great accommodation to the Honey Badger crossing him, and Daniel Sorensen absolutely blows.
I took this pick because it is my Dallas Cowboys, and well, frankly, I'm tired of seeing Anthony Brown and Jordan Lewis, so I took Kyrie Lam out of Florida, cornerback. We need a corner. I'm about tired of seeing those guys, so figured I'd take them here.
And number 27, the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know why I said Las Vegas. They're going to go ahead and take Nick Bonito here. They love Oklahoma players. Nick Bonito is very good. He's very underrated, and I think he's going to be very good at the next level, especially in a Jim or John Harbaugh-led defense.
For Tampa Bay right here, their secondary has been absolutely horrible this year. They have been in shambles, so I'm taking Trent McDuffie out of Washington. They love taking Washington players, so give me a corner.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. I think Trent McDuffie's a guy who could go a lot sooner as well. The Titans are up on the board. They need defense bad. Jayon Brown's a free agent. Harold Landry's a free agent. So they're taking arguably the best middle linebacker in the class, Devin Lloyd. He absolutely killed it against Oregon. He's been killing it in the Pac-12 all year. And Devin Lloyd, he's shot up the draft board as well this year.
And for the Packers, they need a wide receiver too. They've been needing one forever. So George Pickens out of Georgia, please, and they're about to lose Devontae Adams. So they need a receiver. Here he is.
Yeah. Next pick, my Patriots, taking Roger McCreary out of Auburn. He's a versatile corner. He plays man end zone, and that's what Bill Belichick looks for in his corners, guys that are versatile and can do it all.
Now for the Arizona Cardinals here, I think they need an edge rusher. J.J. Watt's getting up there in age. Chandler Jones is also getting up there in age, might leave. So Drake Jackson out of USC. I hate USC, but that's my selection.
And that about wraps up for the greatest podcast on turf, Mock Draft. Link in bio for full content, free agency, waiver wire pickup we did on the podcast. Keep showing us love. Mock draft every other Monday. We'll be back next time with our 1 through 32 mock draft. Keep showing the greatest podcast on turf love, and we'll see you guys next time.
See ya.
Peace.